Mises.
Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max.
Welcome, everyone. We are the Geek Patrol, and our microphones don't have a stun setting. I'm Joe Thorderson, here with my buddy Brandon Olmstead, and back behind the glass is our good buddy Max. Max has been absent for a while. I don't know where you've been. Don't know what you're doing.
I did hear Brandon give us the proper plural for mouse. Mises.
I know, and he right as he hits record.
Oh,
exactly.
Okay, good. Yeah.
At least it's better than
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, hey.
Can we finally let people in on a little secret that it's one of the worst kept secrets here?
Okay.
Max is only behind the glass because you're afraid he's going to hit you.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Well, I have a martial arts background.
I know you do. I'd be afraid you were going to hit me too.
He's behind the glass for our safety. So.
Exactly.
Hey, Brandon, I'm just saying this real quick.
Okay.
I tried my best to go see Spider-Man this weekend. Well, I didn't try my best because I would have bought a ticket a month ago. But I thought, these days I don't have to buy tickets in advance. So I didn't. And I tried to go and it was sold out. So I'll see it. And next week we'll do our review.
So I understand completely because while I was there to see Spider-Man Brand New Day, the number of people who were trying to buy tickets and the ticket booth having to say, we're sold out, we're sold out, we're sold out. It's like they didn't have anything showing still open at Paradiso until Saturday morning when I was there for a 1 o'clock Thursday showing.
Right. Well, I'm glad. Hey, I'm not complaining at all. This is what we said maybe this will bring the box office back, and it looks like we've got our summer hit so far.
Hey, I'm having a good time. This is the fourth movie I've gone and seen and actually had a really good theater experience.
Yeah.
So
okay,
I'm not complaining either.
All right. And, of course, what we want to talk about here shortly is some of the stuff that came out of San Diego Comic-Con, and we'll try to do it without being negative and talking about how San Diego has changed over the decades.
Well,
but
I've got four things that I gleaned out of San Diego that I'm actually positive about.
Okay, cool.
And so I'm excited about that.
But, Max, you said you were in the grocery store and something...
I had an epiphany in Kroger.
Okay.
How's that for the title of a song?
Dude.
Okay.
You write the lyrics, I'll find someone to sing it.
Okay, so what is your epiphany?
Well, it was interesting because, because we don't talk about music often enough on this show, even though we're affiliated with a rock station. And I was listening to an artist's song came on the airwaves and everything inside the Kroger. And I was thinking to myself after I got home, have I ever heard a bad song by this band and everything? And I'll just say this band is REM. And I had it made me think of another thing because Ditch on 98.1 The Max, he said that one thing that REM did well that other bands didn't is they knew when their time was up. And when they said they were going to be done, they were done. And so I'm wondering if part of the beauty of bands like that or franchises in general is they recognize that they are a beautiful moment of in time and they know when to go away.
Now, I like that idea. Because Seinfeld did that. They dropped the mic right when they were at their peak.
I'm going to have to say this. I know we were going to talk about San Diego Comic-Con and all. This is a conversation that needs more than just a happy chat moment.
Because
that's a really good question, Max. I like that.
I'm going to go ahead and apologize to our listeners. If we go a little too far with this, Max has posed a question on air, and this is one of those times where we may end up derailing what our plans were because this is actually a very pertinent question, especially in today's multimedia. I mean, it's not just bands. He's right. It's movie franchises, TV series, baseball teams.
Right.
Football. I mean, it's like the moment where people go, I'm gonna stop while I'm ahead because from here on out it's going to be diminishing returns.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, because maybe I'm just not as familiar with REM's discography, but it's like I've never heard a dud song by REM, and I even when they did that silly cover of their Tiny Happy People or whatever on Sesame Street, it was still good. Or Everybody
song.
Hurts, or Losing My Religion, or the one that was playing on the air was It's the End of the World. It's like I've never come away listening to an REM song feeling like that stunk.
One of my best friends in Chicago, that was his favorite band of all. Like it wasn't even close. Yeah. He and I think he had a similar idea like you, Max. He said, well, they're unique and they own their sound.
And the
Like
sound,
that's like, this is what we make. You may like it, you may not, but
and not only that too, but like I just really love the main singer's voice. Like he just
Yeah.
has a very enthralling voice.
I got to go back and listen to some REM. I don't listen to them as much as I
There's
should,
not
but-
a bad song in their discography as far as I know.
Yeah.
Anything I've ever heard from them is something, I mean, they're not all, bangers or anything, but there's never been anything where I'm going, if I have to hear Shiny Happy People one more time. I get into that song. I mean, whether it's watching the video, seeing the Sesame Street version, or seeing the opening of, that Chris Elliott TV show that it was the opening credits for.
Yeah, but
No, wait, that was Stan. Never mind. Again, all their songs are good.
there's good life lessons here, though. I guess I'm thinking about some of the things where it's kind of like, okay, can this just end? Or looking back, it's like, boy, their earlier stuff was so much better than now. And I don't know, man.
It's kind of like what you said about, I forget which artist she said. It's like you look weird being like a
Grace
grown,
Slick.
yeah, Grace Slick. It's like you look weird trying to capture the moments of your youth in your music. It's like I think the beauty of something like that is it needs to end because we as humans crave things that are infinite, but I think the beauty lies in finitude.
That's what I'm wondering too, because like there's an energy you have when you're a younger person with rock and roll music or something, and how do you transition? Because these days, Brandon, I gotta be honest, like I watched a video of Loverboy just because I was curious of these guys performing. I'm like, you guys look like you need to be in a retirement home, not running around with a sleeveless leather jacket, and just at some point you do look silly. I think Grace Slick is right about that, man. It's like, so I don't know, but now music wise, maybe you still put out good music, but I think. I don't know.
No, I think my question more so is recognizing when your time has come. There are some bands that are still able to produce bangers even into their old age. Like, look at U2.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's just something about being self-aware. Maybe it's self-awareness and not just going for the quick money grab. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So, we're going to ponder that a little more, and then we'll talk about San Diego when we come back here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. The Geek Patrol is back.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my buddy Brandon Olmstead and our pal Max over there behind the glass. And we had a game plan, and Max threw us an interesting question that we're going to explore a little more before we start talking about San Diego. But Brandon, you know what Max, basically your comment was, you made an observation about the band REM, how they basically, you don't hear a lot of dud songs from them. Now, I'm sure there's some people that would argue with that, but then they quit when they said they would. They never did the reunion stuff. They basically ended when they felt like they had reached a good close. And you were exploring the question of, well, why are there so many other entertainment properties that don't do that? And I was thinking of that famous Ernest Hemingway quote of, to be a successful writer, you have to be willing to murder your darlings.
Oh, yeah.
Which means you may be in love with this idea, you may think this is great, but objective, it's like if you're stepping back and going, maybe it's not. Maybe I'm the only one that's in love with this idea or something. I don't know. But yeah, there's so many things where like maybe they should have quit. I hate to say it, but the MCU is the prime example of that, right?
Well, I mean, I think that honestly, there should have been a bigger break after Endgame.
Yeah.
Maybe
a reset, maybe just a
I mean, I don't think you needed a reset in a situation like that. But, our good friend Alan Gilbert always says, I can't miss you if you won't go away.
Right.
And nothing was going to live up to Endgame right afterwards. That's why people got so, I think, burned out on it. If they had taken some time between the two, but Kevin Feige was like, nope, we're going to keep on going. And it got to the point where people were just like, fire Feige, because he obviously doesn't know what his next steps are. And how many times have they had to reset with phases at this point?
Yeah. Well, because obviously there's other factors involved besides just like artistic integrity. Let's just be brutally honest. I mean,
because we were talking about off the air, like Attack on Titan. Well, it's like, well, Attack on Titan had a definite end, but the thing that kind of got in the way was the production studios, because it's like they were dragging their feet on when the conclusion would come, and so it's like it's not the fault of the manga writer that the anime that was adapted from their manga was taking so long. It's the fault of the production people who don't want to see the cash cow leave.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
well, there's always, like I said, there's financial considerations.
I mean, one of the things, and I mean, this can go, we can take this all the way back to the early days of Geek Tank Radio, when our buddy Dean Zachary would come in and he would talk about studio interference.
Yeah.
And, it's like the creatives, may have a definite, this is my story, this is how long it's going to go, this is going to be this. But then, the studio heads or the station that airs your show, and, Supernatural is a major, like plot point here. There was a story written for a 5-season arc. They were lucky enough that they could actually do all 5 seasons. It has a very, very definitive ending that could have been at the end of season 5 and gone away. But the CW's like, we'll just keep throwing money at you as long as you do, because you're our most popular thing ever.
Right.
With all the other stuff we've got going on, people keep watching. And it took Supernatural another 6 seasons before it got good again.
Yeah, that's exactly, because I always think of Seinfeld. They ended at the peak of their popularity. I mean,
Right.
they ended on a really high note, and I think that's a good example. I mean,
And not only that too, but if it ends and everything, then there's sort of a beauty and a nostalgia to it, because there's an anime that I've been watching recently that is set in high school and it's set in high school. And it's like Dun or whatever. But what I like about it is like it is targeted towards high school students, but the people who are meant to appreciate it the most are the people who lived through that, who can have fond nostalgic memories over just doing nothing with your buddies. And so it captures a moment in time that's precious to all of us, which is like high school and our youth. And so going back to the REM thing and everything, they were perfect. They kind of perfectly encapsulated the weirdness of the 90s and everything for those who lived in it. And so that's perhaps the beauty of what they had to put out, because it's like they're a time capsule of something that is rather than something that needs to continue to be.
yeah. And you just have to accept that a finite having I don't know, putting limits on things is actually sometimes good. I don't know.
One of the things my wife has been into lately, and so much so that my entire algorithm on Netflix is a little off, is Korean dramas. And almost every one of those is a one
I keep
season.
hearing about those.
Is a 1-season limited series. And I mean, there's some really good ones. There's one that we just watched called Teach You a Lesson. Mm-hmm. And it's about it's about the enforcers at a school. It's like the police that deal with the student, problems. And I think it's like 10 episodes.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like, it's one and done and boom. And it's like, it's set in a place where the stories could continue, but you're fine with it where it is. There's another really good one called Alchemy of Souls, which is very feudal with all sorts of, supernatural type stuff. These shows, I mean, she's kind of drugged me into a bunch of, not on purpose, it's like I walk in, I sit down, I go, what is this? And then all of a sudden, boom, I'm hooked. And then they have a definitive ending. And then, it's like, it's like a story that sits there. And it can gestate with you. And not everything needs a sequel.
Yeah, and we've said that, Max. Maybe that's one of the reasons the older I get, the more I gravitate towards Japanese storytelling. And I know there's a lot of Korean movies, and there's maybe they have a better understanding, some of their storytellers, of, just tell a story and let it have an ending. You don't have to just milk this into some, franchise or something.
I think what happens with a lot of these things, and Max, I'm hoping you can back me up on this, because you've got a much higher understanding when it comes to Asian cinema. They let their creatives do the creative thing, and it's not always about just the paycheck. Here in America, it's always about the paycheck.
Right.
Like they're not going to finish the Fast and Furious movies at this moment unless Vin Diesel can get the budget for the last one under control.
Right.
I could definitely kind of see the validity in that.
Okay. All right. Well, we may have a few parting thoughts, and then we promise we'll talk about San Diego Comic-Con when we come back here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. The Geek Patrol is back.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my buddy Brandon Olmstead and our pal Max over there behind the glass. And let's shift gears. San Diego, the San Diego Comic-Con is past again.
And honestly, I think that's one of those things that has pretty much run its course, and it's time for it to go away.
I wondered about that because it's evolved over the years. I mean, it started off with good intentions, started off humbly. It started off as a fan-run event.
Has it evolved or devolved?
Well, I think we know the era. Once they started inviting in movie studios, and it just turned into this big spectacle. And literally, you can't even walk in there. It's like a sardine thing. And it got just too...
I watched a lot of videos from there this year, and it's not nearly as crowded it looks anymore.
No, it's slowing down with that.
But I don't think it's because of the lack of people. I think that they are shrinking down some of their displays so that it's not a fire hazard. But honestly, I don't have any reason to ever want to go. Everything that is done could be done via digital online announcements.
Right.
I know that there are people who love the idea of being on the floor when Ryan Reynolds shows up in a denim gray Deadpool costume to ask a question to the Doomsday panel, which happened. And
right. Well, they always have those things, those surprises, which I'll give them that. But
but it's like if I want comic information, I do New York Comic-Con. They are the ones who actually give me actual information about comic books.
Right.
San Diego Comic-Con is not a Comic-Con.
I do have an interesting historical observation about why you might prefer New York to San Diego, because what's interesting is that the heart of entertainment before it actually was California was actually New York. And so maybe Hollywood and California and everything has had its run and everything, and maybe it's time for older brother New York to finally kick back in.
Well, I mean, first off, it's at the Javits Center. You cannot go wrong with the Javits Center.
Is that nice?
It's very nice. Okay. I mean, even when they had to shut down half of it because they were doing renovations and repairs.
Yeah,
it's still an amazing venue.
You're not totally off the mark here, I think, because I lived in San Diego. It's probably one of my favorite places in the whole country. But it's really, it's 90 minutes from L.A. It's not a big deal for a bunch of Hollywood types to just get in their car and literally just head down there. I'm wondering if just the simple proximity is what kind of kickstarted the whole thing of, well, let's make this the big release point for these, science fiction and superhero movies. And then it just really just got out of control.
Plus, it was easier to have, your publishing arm do all your big announcements in New York at the time because, both publishing houses were in New York for the longest time. Marvel's out in Burbank now, or DC's, one of them's in Burbank now, but they still tend to do the comic-based news out of New York Comic-Con. Your entertainment-based news comes out of San Diego. And then Dragon Con's where you go when you actually want to have fun.
Yeah, Dragon Con's my favorite. But, Brandon, I'm curious, and we're sure doing a lot of hating, but I think we're just being... Hey, one thing about Geek Tank, throughout the eras that we're broadcasting, we just we react to the reality of the times. Right. I listen to some of our older episodes, and it's sunshine and daisies because everything was new and exciting, and now it's a little bit not that way. But, Brandon, it used to be that San Diego was like... You were just glued to your phone or whatever, going, what's the big trailer announcement? Who's going to show up? What's the big, moment? Was there a moment this year? Because I was looking and I couldn't find one.
As far as I'm concerned, the moment which has caused a lot of controversy and anger and bewilderment was the announcement of David Johnson to play T'Challa.
So we're bringing Black Panther back. And
No. Young T'Challa, who we met at the end of Wakanda Forever, it's T'Challa's son. He will be basically growing into the mantle in Black Panther 3. Black Panther 3 is not
I
going to
didn't
be
know he had a son.
Did you not watch Wakanda Forever?
I watched it once. Honestly, I didn't like that movie.
You meet his
you're
kid
right.
at
You're
the
right.
end.
Okay, that's right. See, that just shows.
I know.
Because the first Black Panther is my all-time favorite Marvel movie, and then the second one just let me down. But
well, I mean, there's a lot to love and feel cursed by when it comes to Wakanda Forever, and I really enjoy it now. But I think it's because we are now have had enough distance from the death of Chadwick Boseman.
Well, I mean, they had to adapt to that situation, which was hard because that guy was, Chadwick Boseman was awesome.
Yeah, but I think my biggest problem with Wakanda Forever is always going to be Namor's look.
Yeah, he looked like
I mean, have you seen the way he looks in the Doomsday trailer?
He looks like better.
He looks like Namor.
Yeah.
But I mean, I watched it recently and I was like, I don't understand why there's so much hate. Is it as good as the first one? No, but it's like the same thing I was saying with Supergirl. Supergirl's is a down no real breaking the minds of anybody. It's a movie. It's not some oh my God they did this kind of thing. Other than they gave Supergirl a movie.
It's funny that you say that because when I was looking at the trailers that came from Comic-Con, the one that kind of excited me the most, even though I already saw the trailer for it, was Coyote versus Acme.
Coyote versus Acme.
Now that one, it's funny. That one got me too because it's like the first trailer, they were probably still working on some of the animation, but I was like, give me some more of the cartoony stuff, and they did this time. And the premise is pretty funny.
Yeah, it's so much. It's such a better trailer.
Yeah.
It's different. It's just silly. It's stupid, and I like it because another trailer that I saw, it's like, oh boy, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Was the girl from Stranger Things doing another alien movie inside of an abandoned mall?
It's like I don't need any of that. My favorite actress from Stranger Things, as far as the kids go, she's got her new role. She's going to have work for the longest time, and that's because of her role in Brand New Day, which is going to branch out into the MCU, which we won't talk about that because it's a spoiler, and I don't want to give it away to Joe just yet.
Okay. Do we have any? Gosh, I feel like we're not having a whole lot of love for San Diego this year, but
because everything that was worth the announcement happened already.
Okay, there you go. We'll continue when we come back here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. The Geek Patrol is back.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my buddy Brandon Olmstead and our pal Max over there behind the glass. And you guys, during the break, I had an epiphany. Max, you and I are getting ephanies today.
I wonder why.
Well, we're talking about the San Diego Comic-Con, which happened, and, we're not showing a whole lot of love to the San Diego Comic-Con, and something occurred to me, and when we talk about the San Diego Comic-Con, very often we're talking about what movie got released, who showed up, what celebrity showed up, and or what toy got released. Well, you and all three of us have been to Dragon Con multiple times, and
I've only been once.
Okay, I've been all right. Well, you've been there, Max, and so Dragon Con is in Atlanta, and luckily for us in the Mid-South, it's only about a 5-hour drive. For me, it's a much better experience. It's a bunch of hotels downtown and like the convention center, and they basically take over the whole town. And when I talk about Dragon Con with my friends, it's always about the experiences. You know what I'm saying, Brandon? It's not like, well, we met this person or they released this item. It's like a party.
Honestly,
it's the party vibe that gets to me, and I think so. It's more that's what's missing with San Diego
because
for me.
It has the size of San Diego, but it has the heart of a smaller con.
I think Max
That's
nailed
exactly
it.
Right. Bingo.
Is it feels like a local style convention? Just it's huge.
Right.
And honestly, I think the only time it's like when we went, and we ran into Tom Kenny.
Right.
Which is the conversation that led to him eventually being at MCFC.
Divine Providence.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was So it was very much there's just a vibe that it's not about the celebrity. It's not about the activity even. It is just, it's like ShadowCon on a San Diego level.
Well, it's and depending on what part you go to, there's thousands of really hundreds of thousands of experiences happening throughout the area, and they're all a little unique. But it's and there's always stories that come after Dragon Con, even if it's as simple as the drive down there or who you ran into at the airport or something. But it's, I don't know, man. And it's just the heart is better, I think.
Yeah,
I think Max nailed it.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true, because one of the things about Dragon Con that gets you is that you never say I went to Dragon Con as a status point. People do that with San Diego,
like it's a pilgrimage.
Right?
Do they still do that?
I went to San Diego Comic Con. Well, because it's still almost impossible to get tickets unless you're like right on your computer at the last second.
That's another thing.
Inaccessibility.
Getting tickets are hard.
They try to manufacture a FOMO experience, but San Diego, anything worth its salt, about as soon as it happens if you didn't go. And most of the stuff you were looking forward to, they will drop or spoil a week or so ahead of time. But when you go to Dragon Con, you don't know what's going to happen, because you don't go down there with any kind of agenda other than I'm going to go down to Dragon Con and have a good time.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I didn't, my first and only time to going to Dragon Con, maybe it won't be my last, but it was sort of a mixed bag of my experience, because I was in a ghillie suit for a cosplay. And I remember...
In the summer.
It's one of those things of the line from the Three Musketeers book where it says, "You're young, so you have plenty of time for your bitter recollections to become tender remembrances."
Yes.
And so while it was hot and annoying standing in line for such a long time and then eventually getting the soda to cool me off in the ghillie suit, one thing I remember fondly is that you don't know what's going to happen, because it's like, like the day before there was the parade, and it's like some guy came rolling in on his DeLorean and everyone just got excited, and it's like all of a sudden the energy was like risen and everything, and it's like it made it standing in line in the heat all the more bearable.
Yeah, there's room for spontaneity. Things happen, and like I said, like you see at a party.
There's just stuff that'll get you hyped.
Right.
And it's like, if I'm going to San Diego and I'm like walking through the NECA booth, it's the figures that get me excited. I don't care about what's going on in Hall H. I want to see the latest line of Ninja Turtle stuff. Speaking of which, I have to buy all the Fortnite Ninja Turtles, and I hate Fortnite. That's how awesome these things are.
Yeah.
But you go through the Mondo booth and you see some of the classic 80s cartoons in giant statue form, and those are the things that get me about San Diego now. I don't care what Marvel's going to tell me. I don't care if Star Wars has a presence.
Right.
Does San Diego have an absence of booths of people that are just selling stuff, like the mom and pops kind of level stuff? Because that's the one thing I like about local conventions is you could be surprised by the local, just obscure artists or artisans. Like, I'm wondering if Dragon Con does that still, but San Diego doesn't.
But Max, here's the problem with San Diego, because they have that, but it's mixed. Literally, you can't shop the whole vendor room in a weekend unless you spent your whole time just going through there. It's huge. I think they're up to thousands of vendors. So it's kind of like trying to find them. It's sort of like when you're trying to find something on Netflix to watch. It's like, okay, somewhere in there is something. And then you're afraid if you don't buy this item now, somebody's going to walk up and buy it.
Right.
So it's really tricky
to
shop.
As a nerd guru, I'm going to put it in this kind of form. It's the difference between going to your local church and going to a mega church.
There you go. Yeah.
You're never going to become you're never going to feel the fellowship with all the parishioners at a mega church like you will at your local church.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think there's something to be said for.
That's not going to stop me from trying at Dragon Con, though.
Yeah. Now, in fairness, San Diego used to be that way. It used to just be very street level and it just got too big for its britches. And so I don't even know why we did this review. All we're doing is ripping on.
Well, the one thing that I can say that's really exciting about it is, hey, Ryan Gosling's going to play Ghost Rider.
Okay. Now Ghost Rider could be pretty cool.
I'm hoping we've seen the Johnny Blaze version. We've seen the Robbie Reyes version. I want Gosling to play Danny Ketch.
Okay.
That was my favorite Ghost Rider.
Okay. All right. Well, whatever, folks. I mean, that's what we have to say about San Diego. But we got to go.
We hope
you
you enjoy it.
Yeah, the show's over. So until next week, we are the Geek Patrol, and I am Joe Thorderson.
I'm Maximilian,
and I'm Brandon Olmsted. Saying it's the end of the show, and I feel fine.